actually auditioned for the role of Barbie. I produced the film, so I guess I cast myself.
Margot Robbie, everyone's favorite Barbie icon, just publicly dragged Blake Lively, and she didn't even bother hiding it. Turns out Blake's relentless habit of muscling into other people's projects has gotten so out of hand that even Margot finally snapped.
Show up on a set, I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say, but I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that.
Think about it. Most people get nervous asking for extra ketchup at a diner, but Blake? She's out here boldly trying to snatch lead roles and producer credits from movies she was never even considered for.
I realized that half of the actors that I admire most were people who were more filmmakers, or people who had to get their hands in the storytelling and the writing and the creating and the environment, and people that I respected so much. And I was like, oh, okay, there's two different categories, and I'm in this category, and that's okay. So once I started embracing that and leaning into it and not feeling embarrassed about it, I think I was able to do the best work. And so that's why I'm so proud of this film.
And here's where it gets wild. Back in late 2021, when casting rumors were swirling, Blake suddenly rebranded herself into a human Pepto-Bismol bottle. Every carpet? Pink. Her Instagram? Pink. Probably even her dog's accessories, pink. But this wasn't fashion. It was strategy. Instead of auditioning like everyone else, Blake tried to manifest Barbie through a pastel takeover, banking on PR stunts to make people believe she already embodied the role.
And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to fulfill.
But Blake wasn't just swapping outfits. She was rewriting the script. Word slipped out that her team, completely unsolicited by the way, sent Mattel a pitch deck for a so-called legacy Barbie. Translation? A mature, refined Barbie with a husband, 3 kids, a Pinterest board full of farmhouse kitchens, and an oddly aggressive interest in directing.
In the end, I promised Ryan a present every day if he did the movie, and then when he did do the movie, I was like, oh shit, I gotta get so many presents.
What kind of presents?
Just Ken-related things, like a puka shell necklace or, you know...
A horse-themed mat.
Horse-themed, yeah, like horse-themed lunchbox, something like that.
The whole thing was glossy, curated, and reeking of desperation. Picture it. You're not invited to the party, yet you show up anyway with a 10-slide PowerPoint about why you should be on the guest list. And here's the tragic twist. Mattel wasn't even the real decision-maker. The production team, the ones who actually held the keys, weren't consulted or even CC'd. Meanwhile, Margot Robbie, she wasn't wishing, pitching, or cosplaying. She was already Barbie. Cast, producing, and actively building the film under her own company, lucky chap.
That for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just be an actor. Like I want to have more author.
And let's be clear, this wasn't some vague rumor. Warner Bros. Had Margot's name locked in as early as 2020. That's pre-vaccines, pre-Wordle, back when people barely remembered Ryan Gosling was still acting. Margot wasn't just in the mix, her name was practically tattooed onto the script. So when Blake rolled out her pastel-powered PR campaign, the actual production team could only blink, tilt their heads, and mutter, "Sorry." Who?
Actually auditioned for the role of Barbie. I produced the film, so I guess I cast myself, but I did make it very clear to Greta being our writer and director, she was always who I wanted to make a Barbie movie with. I said to her when she said, yes, I'll come on board, I don't have to be in the movie.
And here's where it gets deliciously brutal. Margot didn't waste time with clapbacks or shady posts. She went silent, then decisive. One quiet word from her and the entire Blake is Barbie fantasy flatlined quicker than Blake's directing ambitions. Even Greta Gerwig, who had zero patience for pastel-fueled theatrics, was reportedly unimpressed with the stuff. Margot doubled down on secrecy, locking everything behind NDAs and cutting loose any thread that could risk a leak. The urgency spiked after a sketch of her cowgirl costume mysteriously surfaced online, right when Blake's team was busy tagging Barbie press mentions. Coincidence? Maybe. But when fashion bloggers who'd once hyped Blake as Barbie-coded suddenly pivoted to reposting actual costume concepts from the film, it looked less like chance and more like sabotage. The production treated it as a warning shot. Still, no one publicly dragged Blake. Not a blind item, not a subtweet, just an eerie, deliberate silence. She was erased so thoroughly that the public barely remembered she'd tried to stake a claim. No think pieces, no fan petitions, no what could have been discourse. Just Margot gliding in neon rollerblades, collecting critical acclaim and cashing billion-dollar checks, while Blake kept posting pink outfits like she was doing the B-list promo circuit for a movie she wasn't even invited to. And then came mid-2022. Barbie was in full swing. Paparazzi flashes nonstop, and Margot Robbie was shutting down the internet without breaking a sweat. You remember the photos, the hot pink leotard, the neon rollerblades, the chaotic Venice Beach energy. They leaked July 3rd, and by July 4th, the only thing more viral than those images was people pretending they hadn't already saved them. While Margot was busy filming actual scenes, Blake was unraveling in a bubblegum-colored digital tantrum. After being told no, she doubled down, convincing herself that if she wore enough pink couture, the world might accidentally cast her through sheer delusion. Between June and August, she went all in. Paris Fashion Week drowned in pastel glam. New York dripping in another pink look just in case we missed the first. And the Met Gala, where she turned up in a shiny, copper pink gown that fashion bloggers instantly dubbed Barbie-coded. It was as if she thought persistence and pink dye alone could rewrite reality, even though Blake claimed her Met Gala gown was inspired by the Statue of Liberty. Everyone saw through the spin. It was pink, it was calculated, and it was anything but subtle. But things only got messier. On June 22nd, she hosted a charity event titled Barbie for the Cure. Yes, that was the actual name, Barbie for the Cure, with zero approval from Mattel. Who does that? You can't just slap Barbie on a flyer like it's a juice flavor and expect no one to notice. And notice they did. 2 weeks later, Blake doubled down with an Instagram carousel called Just Playing Dress Up. Sure, the caption tried to sell it as innocent fun, but slide 4 was the smoking gun. Side ponytail, pastel skater outfit, and a pink visor that looked nearly identical to the one Margot Robbie had worn the day before in a leaked set photo. Blake was mirroring Margot's looks with such eerie precision, you'd think she had a mole feeding her wardrobe updates in real time. If anyone still believed this was coincidence, the internet buried that narrative. A Twitter thread popped up on July 10th comparing Margot's actual Barbie to Blake's pink invasion, and it exploded. 82,000 likes later, the top comment read, "Unpopular opinion, but Blake Lively might be the real Barbie. She's got the blonde, the looks, the legacy." And who liked it? Oh, just a trio of influencer accounts tied to past Mattel campaigns, the same ones who usually soft-launch partnerships before they're announced. Nothing screams "I'm not involved" like quietly stoking Barbie hype on the sidelines. Then came the real scandal. A low-res sketch of Margot's now iconic pink cowgirl costume suddenly surfaced on Pinterest and Twitter via a fashion muse, the same account that had previously tagged Blake in Barbie posts. No one could explain how it leaked. A costume team stylist later admitted on a podcast that everything was under lock and key, hinting that if it didn't come from inside, then someone outside clearly had access, or an agenda. Their exact words, "It felt like someone wanted to beat us to the aesthetic punch." Translation? Sabotage, loud and clear. By August 3rd, Warner Brothers had had enough. An internal memo went out like a digital cease and desist. Do not engage with any external Barbie-themed campaigns not officially aligned with the studio. Naturally, the memo leaked. A brand exec slipped it to deadline because even insiders were tired of pretending Blake's antics were normal. Mattel backed it immediately. A marketing rep told Variety that Blake's campaign was confusing the public. While Margot's Barbie was ironic, satirical, and self-aware, Blake's was just pink dresses and momcore. It was like comparing a billion-dollar movie to a Pinterest board. Still, Blake refused to quit. She posted a photo clutching a heart-shaped pink handbag, identical to a prop Margot was seen holding on set. Then came a pastel kitchen photo shoot with her daughters, straight out of an off-brand Barbie Dreamhouse ad. To top it off, she launched a suspiciously Barbie-coded activewear line for moms under her Betty Buzz brand. No trademark, no official collab, but the soft pink hues and slogan screamed, "Wish I was cast," and then she pushed it further. No longer just visuals, Blake began mimicking the messaging. Margot's Barbie leaned into ironic feminism and playful cultural commentary. Blake's counter-campaign preached wholesome motherhood and female legacy. It wasn't just copycat fashion anymore, it was personality theft. She wasn't trying to be part of Barbie the movie. She was building her own spin-off, Barbie the Mom Edition. Unauthorized, uninvited, and creepily parallel. And Margot's response? Nothing, not a word, not a post. Just that same surgical silence, the kind that lands harder than any clapback ever could. Not a post, not an interview jab, not even a passive-aggressive emoji. Margot let Blake spiral in silence. But the studio noticed. After Blake's bizarre streak of copycat outfits, Margot's team slapped an embargo on future looks. One stylist even admitted to Glamour that wardrobe reveals were being timed like state secrets because no one wanted another Skatergate moment. Imagine prepping for a billion-dollar press tour and having to hide costumes as if they were nuclear codes. By September, even Reddit was tired. Users compiled side-by-side lookbooks of Blake versus Margot and coined the phrase Blake branding Barbie. It had become its own internet subplot. And then came the boldest move yet. Blake's team pitched a modern Barbie capsule collection to one of Mattel's partner brands. Translation? She tried to launch Barbie merch without permission, while the actual movie was gearing up for official licensing deals. The brand did what any sane company would do, forwarded the pitch to Mattel Legal. Mattel swatted it away like a fly. At that point, the line wasn't just crossed, it was obliterated. Margot's Barbie was a cultural reset. Blake's Barbie was Etsy knockoff energy. No studio backing, no contracts, just pink filters, suspiciously timed photos, and a desperate bid to attach herself to something that never belonged to her. And the most belonged to her. And the most